What's going on, guys? Eric Pate here, back with another video. So I'm currently uploading the life update video. So this is basically a part 2 to the video I just made about my life update, like what's going on in my personal life and whatnot. But I did tell you guys that in the second part of the life update, I did tell y'all the second thing in my life that I was talking about was the fact that I'm writing a story right now. So let me go ahead and tell you what the story is about. Now, I got my friends' approval to put them in, and I'm still trying to figure out still trying to figure out a few more parts to where where I'm going to put people where, regarding the security guards that's in the story, the air traffic controllers, and a maintenance supervisor at Dallas Fort Worth. So I got my and about 3 flight attendants. Anyway, let's like the lines. Just in case I happen to like it a lot, and I do want it to be a short film. If that happens to be the case one day, there will be a total of 10 flight attendants and 4 pilots on the plane, and then you have all the extras for the passengers, and whatnot. Anyway, let's go and talk about the story. So the story is called American Airlines Flight 2188. So now this is not the real route of the real American Airlines Flight 2188. Well, I couldn't think of a good flight number for this story, and for some reason 2188 happens to hit first. 2188. It's actually titled this video. I'm actually gonna put it in the parentheses of the title of this video that says my story, and then in parentheses it's gonna say American Airlines Flight 2188. But anyway, so it starts off with, so it's Valentine's Day in 2020. And I played the role of the head captain, because due to the fact that this was over a 6-hour flight. Now, it's recommended, it's not required, I think, by the FAA, but it's recommended for a flight longer than 6 hours, that there has to be 2 crews. 2 sets of flight crews. There got to be 2 sets of pilots and 2 sets of flight. I don't know if there has to be 2 sets of flight attendants. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it says 2 sets of pilots. So this flight is going to be about 9 hours from gate to gate, or was scheduled. Keyword scheduled, because I'll tell you what happened to why the flight only lasted about 3.5 to 4 hours. Anyway, we pushed back. So I walk into the crew room looking for my pilots: Senior First Officer Logan England, Relief Captain Dallas Epperson, and Relief First Officer Justin Titwells. Originally, for the Relief First Officer, I was going to have Cooper Morgan, but I decided Cooper was going to be the role of the lead flight attendant, so I changed him to that. Anyway, we gathered up, we go to the gate. Now, I'm single in real life. That's important for what I'm about to say here, because I'm single in real life. But I decided that in the story I'm going to be dating somebody. I haven't decided who exactly it's going to be. I just got to ask some people if they're comfortable with me dating them in a story. But anyway, this particular day, my girlfriend happens to work my flight. And I kind of felt I didn't really feel embarrassed. She felt more embarrassed than I did. Then she found out I was supposed to work that flight, because I walked up and I said, "Hey, so-and-so." And then she goes, "Eric, we've been over this. We do not talk at work." I said, I know, but I'm actually working flight 21. I'm actually the captain of flight 2188. She's like, "Oh, okay." And then she granted access to all 4 of us plopping down the jet bridge. Now, when we got to near the end of the jet bridge, like before it turns off to board, there's a little circle area when you're board. Now, in that circle area, there's a door that leads outside to then a set of stairs that you have to walk down, where the ramp agents can get access to the gate if they have to and whatnot. So, with that being said, I sent the 2 first officers outside to go do the aircraft walk around, because it's mandatory before every flight for a walk around to be performed. To look for dents. They do. I had to do walk arounds when I was a ramp agent, but the pilots actually, we do a quick scan. But the pilots, they do more of a detailed walk around. What do I mean by detailed? So when I had to do walk-arounds at X and A, all I had to really look for was dents, cuts, anything that could possibly concern the flight. Like, we just quickly walked around, looked around, and whatnot. What I mean by detailed, now a detailed walk-around is basically the pilots actually looking inside does the same thing a ramp agent does. But they look at a lot more stuff though. They actually look into where the gear comes up. They look inside to where the gear comes up. They actually have to go in under the belly of the aircraft. While the ramp agents, they just look, like I said, they just quickly walk around, look around. But no, the pilots actually have to go under the aircraft, have to go in the wheel well, they're looking at a lot more stuff is what I'm trying to get at. But anyway, walk around's complete, and I gave Cooper the okay to board, then Cooper gave the other flight attendants the okay to board. And then I'm not sure, I'm not worked inside. It's been a hot second since I last worked in the airport, but I have it to where Cooper then walks down jet bed. She go tell my girlfriend that, hey, we're good for general boarding. It's about 5 minutes before my girlfriend decided to go ahead and start the assisted boarding. Assisted boarding is where people who need assistance with walking and whatnot, wheelchairs and whatnot, they can go ahead and plot down the jet bridge. But anyway, during boarding though, a conflict happened to where a woman who's sitting in her seat, 27D, is approached by a man saying that he's in 27E. So the woman gets up to let him in, but the man decided to sit down in her seat. Now, instead, the woman says, hey, you're in my seat now. And the guy's like, well, I'm not getting back up. And she kept saying, let me have my seat. And the guy says, no. And they go back and forth, and then eventually a flight attendant comes up and said, hey, what's going on here? So then flight attendants decide to verify their seat numbers. She said that she's on, the woman says that she's in 27D. The guy says that he's in 27D. Flight attendant asked the woman first for her boarding pass. The woman gives it to the flight attendant. Flight attendant sees that matches her statement. The guy passenger decided to start cussing out the flight attendant. And then eventually Cooper comes to the back, asks what comes to that area. Because then another flight attendant called Cooper to the back. So Cooper comes to the back to see what was going on, because like I said, Cooper's a purser. He's supervising the other flight attendants. Even though the pursers, their main focus is the very front of the plane. But he's in charge of the whole cabin. Anyway, they ask Cooper then tells the other flight attendant to go ahead and get a captain back there. So then the captain can try to deal with the situation. Phone goes off, Logan answers it. He gives it to Dallas Epperson because the flight attendant said they would like to speak to a captain. Epperson takes the call. Epperson said that he will send a captain that he will send me to the back, which I do go to the back. Right when I approached, the male passenger decided to punch one of my flight attendants. Second I got up there, he's still sitting down, buckled up, ready to go. And first thing out of my mouth was, "Off my plane." I said, "Get off my plane." And he said that he ain't gonna listen to me. I have no authority to kick him off, and that he wants to speak with the senior captain on duty. And I said, "Guess what?" And then I'm over here saying, "I do have the authority. I am the senior captain on duty. You have to get off my aircraft because you just assaulted one of my flight attendants." I'm not even gonna ask what happened. I'm not gonna ask what happened, even though I probably should have put that part in there. But I don't care what happened. All I care is you need to get off my airplane. So then the male passenger said, "I'm still not moving." Then I told Cooper, "Get security." And the guy said, "Security's not going to get me off either." I'm like, "Well, we'll see about that." So security guards came to the plane, and I took him back to where he was. The security guard asked for what happened. After I was sent back to, I said, well, he asked me as we were rocking the back, when security guards did, what happened. I said, "Hey, all I know is a seat disagreement and it turned physical. I don't know anything else. All I know is that there's a seat disagreement, but it turned physical." Then they're like, "All right, take us back there." And then I was cleared to go back. They sent me back to the cockpit, even though I probably should have stayed. And the guy still refused to move. Eventually, the guy unbuckled, then punched one of the security officers. Next thing you know, he's forcibly taken off the aircraft. And right about then, boarding's done. Boarding is done. We got out of there 5 minutes late because of that. But we ended up doing an on-time takeoff. We taxied out, we took off out of Dallas. When we got to cruising, 30 minutes later, we were at cruising altitude of 41,000 feet. I gave the okay for Justin and Dallas to go on break, because they were going to take over in about 2.5 hours anyway. Anyway, fast forward to 2.5 hours later, flying near Philadelphia. 41,000 feet still. Nearing Philadelphia. We were either nearing Philadelphia or we were right over Philadelphia. I don't even remember what I wrote in there. All of a sudden, flying straight, and all of a sudden, oh God, it did it by itself. The plane just went like from flying straight to a sharp bank to the left. I was sleeping and woke me up, and I looked at Logan, and Logan said, "Eric, that was not turbulence." I said, "You are correct." Or did Logan said, Logan's like, "Wow, we just hit a rough patch." I said, "Logan, that was not turbulence." He goes, "What?" I said, "I think something's wrong with the airplane." And next thing you know, oh no, something's wrong. Because I said, because typically, the second crew will buzz for the people about 10 minutes before they want them back up there. But they buzzed literally 10 minutes after they took over. No, not 10 minutes, like 5 minutes after they took over. And I'm like, so me and Logan are quickly getting our gear back on, getting our pilot uniforms, changing out the pajamas back into our pilot uniforms. And I'm tying my tie, tying my tie to the very front of the plane as fast as I can. I'm hauling butt to the very front of the plane. Then I pounded on the cockpit door. The next thing you know, me and Logan busted in. And I yelled, "What the hell's going on?" And Justin saying, "Hey, we're having a flight control problem." I'm like, oh crap. And then I said, "What's going on?" Then I said, what's happening? And then I think Justin says we may have a rudder malfunction. So I turned to Dallas. I said, "Dallas, do we have a rudder mount function? I didn't get an answer. So I yelled, Dallas, are we having a rudder mount function? Dallas says, I can feel it. We are having a rudder mount function. I'm like, shit. So I immediately said, Justin, take controls for a sec. I'm taking over. I'm taking over because when a situation like this happens, usually the senior captain needs to take over. So I took over and I said, had we already squat 7700 and had we declared an emergency? Justin said Justin said that's the very first thing he did. When Dallas disconnected the autopilot and had to start flying the plane manually, Justin said the very first thing he did was he squawked 7700, which is the emergency code, squawk code, and then he declared an emergency. I said, good. Any idea where we're heading? He told me that he requested, typically for emergency, you want to go to the very closest airport, the closest available airport. Well, they were gonna have us go to New York. Originally we were gonna go towards New York, but we realized that with a broken rudder, we probably could not turn in time for any runways in New York because we were only 5 minutes flying time from New York. So I said Boston. So then Justin said that he requested Boston if we can do Boston, because he says we have more time to get things ready. We have more time to make announcements. We can get there. We can get to Boston. Probably have a better shot at making Boston. I said, all right, we're going to Boston. We're gonna land in Boston. We're gonna land in Boston, Massachusetts. So we eventually landed in Boston. But I realized, oh shit. If we're basically in side flip, we can't turn. So I told air traffic control, hey, is there any way we can get somebody from maintenance on the phone? Well, first I asked Justin to look at a quick reference handbook to see what we should do. There was nothing in there for a broken rudder. I'm like, whoa, crap. We can't turn. So then I grabbed the control, then I hit the button to talk to traffic control. Control, this is American 2188. Can you get us to maintenance either Dallas or Los Angeles? We need to figure out what we need to do. So they got us to DFW, and I talked to Brandon Browning. I told Brandon's okay with this. I asked Brandon, and he said he's okay with this. Him being a maintenance supervisor, and I said, oh, what do you want us to do? And Brandon said, use the engines. Are your engines level? Both engines level right now. I said, yes. He goes, listen to me. You need to use unequal power for the direction you want to turn. You need to be using less power. If you want to go left, you need to use less power in the left engine, and if you want to go right, you need to use less power in the right engine. I said, all right, we'll see if that works. So then, because I didn't tell Logan to sit down, I said I had to sit down. Dallas. Oh, I might ask, where's Dallas? You might ask, where's Dallas in this situation? He's in the cabin, dealing with helping the passengers and whatnot to get ready for the emergency landing. So I have Logan get between me and Justin, and I have Logan sitting in the captain jump seat. And I told Logan what to do, and it worked. It worked what maintenance told us. So we're like, all right, but it was very slow. I said, I don't care. At least we got some turning ability. We happened to land 10 minutes later, but the landing was not a smooth landing. I got sore within 5 minutes left in the flight. And I had just take over, and I told him I was going to do a traffic control. Because this whole time, Justin was doing ATC. So I took over on it while he took the controls. And then I said, all right, here's the plan. Since I have the wheel on my side, since I have the nose wheel on my side, Justin, pull the yoke back. When we flare, pull that yoke back. And keep it pulled back until we're slow enough. Because we're gonna let the nose wheel touch ourselves. Because the second that nose wheel touch, I am moving that thing as far right as I can, because it broke to the left. Rudder's broken to the left. To the left. I'm gonna get the nose wheel as far right as I can. Logan, keep the reverse thrust on until I say, Justin, we're hitting the brakes together. Because typically, whoever's flying the plane has to hit the brakes. But I told him we're hitting it together. We do the landing. We touch on very hard. As fast as I can. Spoiler. Emergency brake. Nose wheel. And like I said, me and Justin, our feet are to the floor. We're touching the freaking floor. We happen to stop at 100 yards of runway. We just did we did not do a safety evacuation, did a normal evacuation right there on the runway. And we were told by the traffic control to go ahead and evacuate right there, because they told us that there was going to be no way they could probably get us into a Gators. And that we just had to hang out right there. And then they happened to get us back to the terminal, and all four of us decided we were going to go back to Fort Worth. We decided to go back to Fort Worth for investigation. I'm still trying to figure out if I want to include the investigation in the story, or do I just want to jump straight to what happened. What happened was, I was supposed to be maintenance a couple months before for a new hydraulic line, and the hydraulic line, no, it got a new hydraulic. I'm gonna have it to where it got a new hydraulic line, but the hydraulic line happened to be busted, happened to have a small crack where the bottom rudder is, and it's gonna cause the rudder mount function, which is what caused the rudder mount function. So that's what American 2188 is about. Like, subscribe, comment, would be nice, could be awesome. Airpaid on 8. See you later.